desires for the infinite, they exist, they are there. Just like we desire sleep or water or food or intimacy or relationship. You know, babies in orphanages were dying and they didn't know why. It was because they weren't being loved and they weren't being held.
So I wanted to stop on this point because I actually had to look this up, and this was actually true. The mortality rate of infants in orphanages or in these state homes was higher than elsewhere. And they didn't know why, but it was because they weren't being properly held and cared for. Babies need that kind of close contact with one or two individuals. But it's more from a neurochemical type of perspective of they need to build these emotional bonds. Touch and everything like that is the way that babies form these bonds. Having that close, intimate contact with the one or two individuals helps them really process that and form it. I'm not exactly sure. I couldn't find the exact reason why, but that ultimately leads to higher mortality rates for infants. It's kind of odd that I was like, hey, is this true? What the fuck is he talking about? And then I had to go and look it up, and it's like, oh, well, shit. This kind of highlights the whole God of the gaps of this entire video, because he's jumping from the conclusion of, oh, babies need close, intimate contact with one or two people in order to survive. That means that God is necessary, or God has to exist, because we crave and need this as infants. What he doesn't tell you here is that usually kids that grow up in orphanages actually start preferring not to be touched. Like they just don't want it at all. Of course, you know, this is a sign of there's something wrong, obviously, but it's not just that if babies don't get this, they will all die. It's just that the mortality rate is higher. The chances that a baby's not going to survive is higher. He's making the logical leap here into, oh, well, God has to exist, or this is a reason why God does exist. If you've got to make a logical leap to God and you don't have like a firm connection from one thing to God, then you really don't have a connection at all.
Even on a physical level, this transcends just the spiritual, just the emotional. We're more than just physical beings. Emotions and the spiritual in our soul are truly ingrained in our being.
Well, no, we don't have a soul, for one. I would say that we have a being, right? We have our own personality and all this other stuff. That's part of our being, but we don't have a soul. Just because all of those things exist, or, you know, we need all those things, doesn't mean that a God exists. This is another one of those logical leaps. He just keeps making leap after leap after fucking leap. You would think this motherfucker would be an Olympian.